Hi family, hi beautiful people. It's your sister Portia Mohau again. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you so much for coming back to all those old subscribers. Today we are going to talk about the episode of today. It's the continuation of a bit of childhood, then my marriage, relationships, and divorce. Yes. Like I told you last time that my childhood was all that, like confusing childhood and all that, and I could not put everything down into that episode, and it's highly impossible for a person to finish off childhood in just few minutes, if you get what I mean. But I also said I'll be referring back to my childhood, like in other episodes. Yes, thank you so much. Like I told you about my childhood, I was a child of confusion. I was a child of anger. I was a child of pain and all that. I remember there were times that my mom would take me to people that I didn't know what they were doing to me. You know, they were either prophets or whatever. I don't know what they were doing to me, but I know that I was being, like, I was either sick or something, and they were trying to get help for me. Like, there's this one time that I don't forget. A very well-known man in our township, I was taken there, and he gave me a lot, like, you know, because you remember I was telling you I was falling. Of course, when I said I was falling, a lot of people may be confused. I meant I was a child that fainted, you know. Like I said, it was not diagnosed as epilepsy or nothing. I've never had that. But I just fainted, you know. Be it something's not right, I'll just faint, you know. And when we went to this prophet, you know, there's another, I don't know, I can't call it a ritual because it's not a ritual, you know. Okay, let's just say it's a ritual. Ne? The man used big basins, you know, different, I think there were 3 big basins, different types of water with different types of his own medicine, trying to help me. And yeah, I remember after all that, there were so many, you know, there's wool, we use wool, ne? They used to use wool to make, what's that, ropes, either to put in your hand or your waist for protection, for whatever, different reasons that we will discuss in my spiritual journey. The man did that to me and put those ropes on my waist, and like I was a child, I could not ask a lot of questions. Okay, so those are the kind of things that happened throughout my childhood up until I became an adult. Yes, where now I had a choice. I had a choice of saying yes and no. Now, relationships, okay. Relationship started. Also, I started having, you know, I started being that and that, being a girl and getting into the dating. I fell in love with this one man. Okay, I'm not gonna say here my history of dating is no perfect or whatever. There are a lot of mistakes in the dating department, but you must remember that whatever was groomed in my childhood is being taken with me to relationship as well. I met a very good man, you know, a very good man. We dated, I think we lasted for 3-4 years, something like that. But because I had my own things that were troubling me, I left him, you know. I remember the last time we met officially, I had a cloth, a sangoma cloth, and a bead, because I was paying attention to the calling. He was a bit confused because I was not yet initiated, and the last time he saw me it was not about me going to, I just left them, you know, I just left them, and I left him and the kids, my 2 kids, a boy and a girl, the eldest. I left him without explanation, going to my aunt, where I wanted to understand what's happening to me, but I couldn't have somebody explain what's happening to me. So one old woman said to me, you know what, for you not to die, you have to at least wear their clothes, you know, ancestral clothes, like I'm a bayi, you know, so that they calm down, because the way I look at you, you know, that lady, the way I look at you, you might die. Okay, because I was still young, I think it was around 18, 19. So I was scared of something. I just wanted to save me. So I bought the things that the lady said I must buy and keep wearing them. So I had a white bead around me, and the cloth. At that time, I didn't understand what is all that. I didn't understand the meaning of a white bead. I didn't understand the meaning of a cloth, because all these clothes that some gomas wear, they have meanings. Not unless it's someone who's an amateur, who's just wearing them for the sake of wearing them. You know, every color bead has a meaning, not unless someone is just doing it for the fun of it, for the fashion of it, because lately it's like it's a trending thing. We are coming to that one. So he was confused. I left him. I didn't pay attention into those things. I just left, and I just wanted to be okay. I wore that, kept them there, and continued with my life. I met my ex-husband. Yes. How we met, I was visiting a friend. Then I met my husband. And my husband was a very good man. My husband is still a good man. A good man who made mistakes. Mistakes that also drove me to make my own mistakes. We were young, of course, but there are things that could have been avoided. There are things that you look back at and say, does the other person look back and wonder what were the cause of this and that and that? Because in life, we must always go back to the root of problems. You know, I'm not saying I was a perfect wife, but God knows I tried to be perfect, you know, because I entered that marriage in a way that I didn't understand. I entered a relationship that I didn't understand, taking along my own troubles with, and entering that relationship, I felt like it was a punishment for me, because I left a good boyfriend, you know, for no reason. So I started with this man. I gave him love. I gave him respect. But I think there were times I was made to feel I'm not good enough, you know. He might not admit it now. He doesn't want to admit it. But the truth of the matter is, he made me feel less of a person sometimes. There are incidents that I would only go back to, not that I'm in a way painting his bad side, but I'm just trying to drive to the traumas that you pick up along the way that ends up exploding into something that you do not know. I remember there are pinnacles of cheating that drove me to not depression, but I don't know, I went insane. Not insane as in the word going mad, but I was fed up. Like, I was really fed up. I'll just highlight the pinnacles of cheating, pinnacles of things that left me very disturbed and unappreciating, because the man now, you must remember, he cheats, but then he grows up. Then after growing up, he apologizes and he expects you to move forward, but you can't, because the pinnacles of what he was doing before are holding you captive. Because sometimes in relationships, what we do is we would say, no, I forgive you. But the truth is we don't forgive. We talk forgiveness. So that is exactly what happened in my marriage. The man made mistakes. I kept saying, I forgave you, I forgave you, I forgave you. But the truth is I never truly forgave him, because I'll always have flashbacks of him doing bad to me with either one of his mistresses. I know 2 of his mistresses' names and surnames till this day, because they used to call me. And there was a time that he cheated. And he came with the girl by my place. Because I was fed up, I went home. When I went home, he came with a friend. His name was George. And he came to check up on me and the baby, because we already had a son. So he came to check up on me and the baby. No, I think it was my daughter, our daughter. So he came to check up on me. But knowing him, that he's a cheating person, I went out and I saw that he came by my place with a friend's car and a friend with a certain lady at the back. I went to the car to greet the people. I came back and I was like, who is that lady? And he was like, no, that's not my girlfriend. That's my friend's girlfriend. I said, oh, okay. Why is she sitting at the back? But then they believed him. And then a week later, he came to fetch us. My husband used to work at, he didn't stay home. He used to stay at work, We were staying in Zachariah Park, and my husband was working in Mansfield. Everybody that knows the distance would understand what I'm trying to get at, For me, he said he has to go to work early, but I still didn't understand that. But because I was a good and understanding wife, I just let him go to work, sleep at work, and come back Fridays, I was always at home with my baby, and either I'm with my cousin. I was just a housewife who gave him a life. When he had an opportunity to cheat and do it freely, I also had it. But I didn't think of it, because for me, it was him and the marriage and the baby. Mansfield and Zachariah Park are less than 20, I think, not mistaken, where we used to stay. It's less than 20 kilometers. I gave him that freedom. But he paid me back with dirt. And never for one did he say, I'm sorry for that. Instead, he said, I'm a prostitute. I'm a witch. And I'm crazy. Okay, we cry about it because we look back. But we're fine. Okay. We don't cry about it because it has been 4 years, it has been 19, 20, 21, 22. It has been 4 years divorced, but longer separated. So we over that. But when we look at what we put ourselves into and what we allowed other people to put us through, we just, it happens. Well, I forgave him. I was a devoted wife. Yeah. Then after taking me back home, the very same night, it was a Sunday, the very same night, Sunday, because he has to go to work, the very same friend he came knocking at my door very late at night. The way he knocked, he was looking like a policeman. And I opened the door. I asked him, "How? George, what are you doing here?" And he was like, "Portia, do you know that your husband is cheating with my girlfriend, the one I came with? You remember? They're by your place." I said, whoa, relax. Calm down. Where's your husband? I said, "But he's not here. The man doesn't stay home. He comes back home Fridays. So how can you come at night? Why don't you come during the day? I mean, you probably was with him. Why didn't you ask him that? I just found messages in my girlfriend's phone now." I said, "Oh, wow, that's not, you taking me to your husband's work?" I said, "Cool. Are you sure about that? Because you know him, eh?" I remember I asked him, "But are you sure about that? Because you know him, he'll deal with you." So we went to his work. I called him when I was at the gate. I was like, "Hi, darling. Hi, honey. Hi, baby. Somebody's out to see you here." We came out. And then the man was like, How could you do that? How could you all that and all that?" I was silent and watching these people. And they were fighting with words. He went inside. He came back with a hammer this big. He came out with this huge hammer. And it was like, "You went to my house, took my wife at night for nonsense." And I was like, "No, calm down, baby, calm down." To be honest, I was excited because what I said was true. And he denied it. You see, that is one relationship, excuse me, that hurt me. Because I told him. And he came home. We were sitting next to a heat. I remember it was June. And he was like, "I'm sorry." And I was like, "Oh, you know me. When you tell me the truth, I forgive you. I forgive you." And I forgave him, Now it's cool. I remember there were so many things they would do. I remember when I was pregnant. I was sitting on the couch asking him, "You work far? When you come back, because you used to travel as well. You never home. I'm heavily pregnant. When you come home, all you do is just leave." I was like, "You know what? You know what, honey?" I said, "What?" He said, "I'm going to see people like this." "I'm going out with my friends to see people like this." People who have figured. And to me, that was no figure. Those are part of it. another relationship. You know, the girlfriend who they were fighting for used to call him chocolate. The schoolgirl used to call my husband. She was a schoolgirl. She used to call him chocolate. Well, yeah, that's it. Another relationship that hurt me was the one with my neighbor. You know, we used to rent somewhere, and there were two twin boys that loved me so much. You know, they were like my little brothers. So I visited home, and when I came back, these boys were like, Sister Portia, do you know that your husband is cheating? Next door. I had left some bags that I was selling at home. Then when I searched, I realized one of the bags is not here. And, you know, a lot of things. That other relationship broke me. The other relationship, I would go home. He's home. My husband's not a South African. I'd go to his home. When I come back, there were these two girls that came to look for him, not knowing that I'm around. You know, there were so many relationships that were involved. Like, until I felt enough is enough. I need to say it before God. God knows, bears me witness. In the 13 years I was with him, I just couldn't bring myself to cheat on him. I honored him, but he broke that, and he just couldn't accept it. He didn't say, I'm sorry, accompanied with change. You are saying, I'm sorry, because it's very sweet and quiet and very shy. You wouldn't even believe that. If I could tell our story together, I think the episode will just go bizarre. I would wake up and dream of things and tell him, you know, there were times he'd call me a witch because I told him something. I remember I would tell him that, you know, I remember the girls' names, you know, and they did me no wrong. I mean, they are not the ones who were married, but it happened. So relationships that came because I was fed up. I also cheated on him. My cheating came when I had my own power, if I'm to put it that way, at that time. I had been with him for more than 10 years. In fact, eight years. Because I remember I used to tell him that you cheated for 7 good years. So my relationships came when I was a traditional healer. I cheated on him with a woman. Because by the look of things, I hated the man with everything in me. And I'm not telling my story to lie. We are going to reach the end of this with truth. I loved her. There were times I wanted to marry her because I had that power. For me, she was the only thing that mattered. For me, a woman was all I wanted. Yes, I was a healer with male spirits in me and with dominance. But a woman brought peace. I left the woman without even him knowing, because I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want to get her involved in my world. A world I felt was becoming evil by day, because I was a healer. This is another episode that will come. When I think of her, I still shed tears, because she never knew anything about Iznyak. She was pure to me. I left her, continued with my life. And this man, for me, that time was a time to avenge myself, because I was not feeling anything anymore. What was in my heart was pain towards this man. I would go to his home. Before becoming a healer, I was scared of frogs. I was scared of frogs. Like, it was not me being scared of them, but I just hated a frog. And they made fun of that. I remember the maids and everybody, they were laughing about it. And he was forcing me to face things that I don't like, things that I could not stand. There were so many episodes that made me feel I don't have someone to protect me, So we ended far worse. Things happened, more dirty things happened in that marriage, to an extent that we went separate ways. It was not nice. It was painful, because we had been together for long. We were a good team. We were just not good lovers. He is my brother to this day, because he's the father of my babies. And I thank God that he's happy now. He is happy, and that's... I remember when he showed his girlfriend and his baby, I actually kneeled down and said, thank God. I thank God. I thank God that that man found happiness. I thank God that he would stop tormenting me. Because the reason I cry when I talk about this man, I've never been cursed by anybody like my ex-husband cursed me. Like that man said, there are things that I would not say to anybody that I slept with, because that person, in a sense, is like, there's nothing that that man didn't say that, I was a born-again Christian, and he would be like, do they know how evil you are? He'd be like, hey, false prophet, I'm not staying with him, We separated, we divorced. But the way he would swear me, that I would have panic attacks. You would book yourself to a psychologist just to be okay, just to be sure, because, hey, is my brain still intact? Because, hey, that man doesn't give. And every time he did that, because I was at a Bible college, every time he did that, I was either writing an exam the following day, God being God, I always nailed it. He would swim me and say, do they know how evil you are? A witch. You are Nana Kwaku Bonsam's wife. Do they know that? A lesbian, a prostitute, nothing that he did not say to me. But I used to be calm and said, only God can judge. Only God knows the truth. You know, he would say so many things. It took a lot to forgive him. But every time I tell a story of such, I cry. It's normal. It's normal. It's bad. Because you put yourself at that spot, that time. At that time, it was not nice. You know, I used to wake up in a panic. I thought, what's happening? And I could not believe that someone that I gave kids, you know, to someone that I spent my life with, I didn't understand. How does he forget all his evil and remember my evil? You know, I still couldn't understand. How does people do that? But today, by the grace of God, he's happy. I'm happy. I'm extremely happy. You know, I still cry for a blind man I met and couldn't be with because I was with him. Yeah. There was a time marriage was just convenient. For convenience. But there was no love. So things happened that if I'm to tell episode by episode my own mistakes, his own mistakes, it will never end. But the truth of the matter remains, my own curses, my own bondages, my own unknown spirits went with me to that marriage. And they never gave me peace. I let that man to make mistakes. Because there were times I'd see things I didn't want to see. There were times I would stay 3 months, 4 months without sleeping with a man, but I'm a married woman. He would just walk in and I would perceive a smell of a woman's private part. And I used to tell him, you smell sex. You know? There were times he was just a nice man. I just couldn't reciprocate, you know. I couldn't give him back the love. Because I had my own things following me. And they just wouldn't allow me be me. Until I became a sangoma. Until I drank their blood and got initiated. That was the beginning of hell. For somebody's son and for people I love. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please excuse me, I will be crying throughout because I'm living back the memories. I'm okay now. I'm fine. I'm happy. But when you relive the past, it's painful. What am I saying to somebody tonight in my conclusion? Marriage was ordained by God. Marriage is for God. Marriage is for two people. In marriage, there must be a root of forgiveness, of love, of honesty, and of sacrifice. If you cannot offer these, please do not get married. If you cannot forgive, please don't go for marriage. Marriage is a godly union that the devil attacks every day. A beautiful relationship is attacked every day. We will continue as we go, because now the next episode I'm coming on is the beginning of hell. Thank you guys. Please share, like, and subscribe. And remember, my story is not for fame, but my story is to let somebody know that you can heal, you can move forward, and you can disconnect yourself from evil by doing good and by good. There is evil, but there is good. There is hell, and there is heaven. So may the good Lord be with you tonight, and keep placing me, keep praying with me. Keep remembering me in your prayers, because when you reveal the things of the darkness, if you reveal and expose evil, you go through spiritual warfare that is you cannot understand. It took a long for me to upload this video because I was going through prayers and going through things, but my God rules. Love you guys. Bye.